Welcome to Rare Coins Mysteries. I am not joking. This is not a myth, this is not clickbait, and this is not one of those stories people repeat without proof. This is the real history, the real hunt, and the real money behind the most wanted 1-cent coin ever made in the United States. The 1943 wheat steel penny, a coin that looks small, feels light, and sounds simple, but has created more shock, more confusion, more dreams, and more million-dollar moments than almost any other penny in American. History collectors argue over it, families fight over jars of coins, people search basements, garages, old piggy banks, and inherited collections because one ordinary-looking penny from 1943 has the power to change a life overnight. During World War II, the United States needed copper for bullets, shell casings, and military equipment, so the Mint made a radical decision and switched the penny from copper to zinc-coated steel for one single year. And that decision created one of the greatest mistakes and mysteries in us coin history, because while billions of steel pennies were struck, a tiny number of copper pennies were accidentally made in 1943, and those mistakes became some of the most valuable coins on Earth, selling for hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars, and the steel version itself, which most people ignore, can still be valuable depending on condition. Mint, mark, and rare errors. And today, we are diving deep into the truth, the hype, the real prices, the secret varieties, the testing methods, the myths, the scams, and the real reason why the 1943 wheat steel penny still dominates the coin world. More than 80 years later, imagine a worker at the Mint feeding copper blanks into a press by accident. Imagine a single moment that creates a legend. Imagine a coin slipping into circulation unnoticed, passing from hand to hand through wartime. America buying bread, candy, newspapers, and stamps, never knowing it would one day be worth more than a house. That is the magic of the 1943 penny, and that is why this coin is hunted more than any other 1-cent piece in U.S. history. But here is the twist: most people think all 1943 pennies are valuable, and that is not true. Most steel cents are worth only a few cents to a few dollars. Yet a small group of them are extremely valuable, and a microscopic number are worth a fortune. And the difference between common and life changing comes down to details. Most people never check details. Most people overlook details that could mean the difference between a worthless coin and a six-figure payday. The steel penny has a unique sound, a unique weight, and a unique look. It sticks to a magnet. It rusts if damaged. And it shines differently under light. And those simple traits have fooled millions of people into thinking they have treasure, when they do not, and have caused others to spend them unknowingly when they did. And that is why education is everything. When it comes to this coin, the 1943 wheat steel penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with mint marks that change everything. The Denver Mint produced fewer coins than Philadelphia and high. Great examples from Denver are much harder to find. San Francisco coins are also tougher and top condition, and command higher prices when fully original, with strong details and no corrosion. Condition is king with steel cents, because rust destroys value faster than almost any other flaw. A bright, clean, original steel, sent with no spots, no pitting, and no replating, can be worth many times more than a damaged example. And then there are the errors doubled. Dies off metal strikes, missing mint marks, and transitional planchet errors that push values into the thousands, even for steel examples. And collectors pay huge premiums for certified coins, graded by professional services, because steel pennies were heavily altered after release. Many were replated, polished, painted, or cleaned, destroying their originality and making certification critical. The Holy Grail, however, is the 1943 copper penny, a coin that should not exist yet does exist. Confirmed examples from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco are known, and each one is a headline every time it sells. One sold for over $1 million, and another traded privately for even more. And these coins do not stick to a magnet, weigh more than steel, and have the classic copper color of earlier wheat cents. But beware, because thousands of fakes exist. Copper-plated steel cents, altered dates, and outright counterfeits flood the market, and only professional testing can confirm authenticity, weight, magnetism, composition, and microscopic Die markers are used to separate legends from lies, and this is why so many people believe they have a fortune when they do not, while others dismiss real treasure as fake, and the 1943 steel penny continues to confuse, excite, and dominate conversations generation after generation because it represents hope, it represents chance, and it represents the idea that something small and overlooked can be priceless. And as long as people collect coins, this penny will never lose its power. No. Let's slow the story down and really understand why the 1943 wheat steel penny became such a monster in the coin world, and why even today, people cannot stop talking about it. During wartime, America's daily life was tense. Ration cards, shortages, long factory hours, and constant news from overseas, and in the middle of that pressure, the United States. Mint made billions of steel cents, quickly, cheaply, and without any thought that collectors decades later would obsess over every tiny detail. These pennies were never meant to last. Steel rusts, steel corrodes, steel reacts to moisture and fingerprints, and because of that, survival itself became a form of rarity. Millions were destroyed by rust, buried, forgotten, melted, discarded, or simply thrown away when people noticed they were ugly, discolored, or strange-looking. Kids hated them. Vending machines rejected them, and store owners complained about them because they stuck together and jammed registers. And because of that, many were removed from circulation early, making high-quality survivors incredibly difficult to find today, especially coins that still show full mint luster, smooth surfaces, and sharp wheat lines. Collectors chase those traits relentlessly because they tell a story of preservation against odds, and when a steel cent shows mirror-like shine without replating it, stops people in their tracks and opens wallets instantly. And then there is the psychology of this coin. People love mistakes. People love the idea that something went wrong and created treasure. The 1943 penny feeds that desire perfectly because it represents an error born from chaos, war, urgency, and human oversight, and that is why people still search rolls of pennies 80 years later, even though the odds are microscopic, because the reward is legendary, and that hope fuels entire YouTube channels. Flea market hunts, garage sale searches, estate sale raids, and coin roll videos, and every time someone posts a photo claiming they found a copper 1943 penny, the internet explodes with excitement, skepticism, disbelief, and debate, and most of those claims fall apart under basic tests like magnet checks and weight measurement. Yet the legend survives because a few real ones are confirmed and documented and graded and locked in collections and museums, proving that miracles can happen, and that is enough to keep the dream alive. But let us talk about value realistically, because hype without truth leads to disappointment. A common circulated 1943 steel penny with corrosion stains or dark spots may only be worth a few cents, maybe $1. At best, uncirculated examples with full luster can reach $10, $20, $30 depending on eye appeal, and mint mark high-grade certified examples can reach hundreds and in rare cases thousands, especially from San Francisco or Denver, with sharp strikes and no surface issues. And then error coins change everything: off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, double strikes, grease-filled dies, and repunched mint marks all add layers of desirability, and collectors pay aggressively for unique combinations because steel cents are difficult to find. Problem-free and errors increase rarity dramatically. And then we reach the forbidden zone, the copper strikes, the transitional errors. The coins that should not exist. These are not pocket change finds. These are lottery wins, and when one surfaces, it is front-page news. In the numismatic world, auction houses compete. Collectors whisper, dealers investigate, and grading services lock down security because values reach levels most people cannot imagine for a penny. And this is where scammers thrive, altering dates from 1945 to 1943, copper plating, steel cents, or even gluing copper shells over steel cores to fool beginners. And that is why education is protection. Knowing how to test weight, magnetism, thickness, and edge color saves people from heartbreak and protects real finds from being dismissed. And every serious collector remembers the first time they held a steel penny, felt its light weight, heard its different sound, and realized history was sitting in their hand. And that emotional connection is powerful because this coin is not just metal, it is a time capsule from World War II. It is industrial America. In your palm, it is sacrifice, rationing, and urgency. Frozen in zinc-coated steel, and that Story alone gives it value beyond price guides and charts. And when you explain this to viewers, when you slow it down and let them feel the era, the pressure, the mistake, the survival, suddenly they are not watching a coin video anymore. They are watching history breathe, and that is why this penny dominates watch time, retention, and comments. Because everyone has a penny jar. Everyone dreams of hidden value. Most wanted USA old coins, valuable 1-cent wheat penny, 1946. I'm not joking and I'm not exaggerating. What you are about to hear can change the way you look at pennies forever, because today we are talking about one of the most misunderstood, most ignored, and most secretly hunted coins in American history. The 1946 wheat penny, a small brown coin that millions of people have spent without thinking twice, yet collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters quietly search for every single diamond. Holding a coin that was born right after World War II, a time when America was rebuilding, when soldiers were coming home, and when history itself was turning a new page at that exact moment in time, is frozen inside the 1946 wheat penny, and that alone already makes it special. But that's just the beginning. Most people think only very old coins are valuable, but the truth is some of the most wanted USA coins come from years people never expect, and 1946 is one of those shock years this penny marks. The return to normal copper production after wartime steel cents, and that simple fact created rare varieties, errors, and high-grade survivors that today can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases, life-changing money. When you hear the words wheat penny, you should already know this is not just spare change. The Wheat Penny series is one of the most collected and most loved coin designs ever made in the United States. Those two wheat stalks on the back symbolize prosperity, strength, and survival, and the 1946 wheat penny carries that meaning stronger than almost any other year. Here is what makes the 1946 wheat penny so dangerous to ignore. It was minted in massive numbers. Yes, but only a tiny fraction survived in high condition. Even fewer survived with mint errors, and only a microscopic number exist in top-graded condition. That is where the real money lives, and that is why collectors compete fiercely for this coin. 1946 wheat penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each one tells a different story. Each one has its own value range, and each one hides rare varieties that most people have never heard. Off the Philadelphia 1946 wheat penny has no mint mark, and at first glance looks common, but do not let that fool you. In uncirculated condition, this coin becomes a completely different animal, especially when the color is original red, full mint. Luster, blazing surfaces, and sharp details. Collectors pay huge premiums for that. No, let's talk about the 1946 wheat penny from Denver. This is where things start getting interesting, because Denver mint coins are notorious for weak strikes and die issues, which means strong strike examples are much rarer and much more valuable. A fully struck 1946 wheat penny with sharp wheat lines and full details can sell for prices that shock beginners. And then there is the 1946 wheat penny from San Francisco, a mint known for producing coins with unique die characteristics and higher chances of repunched mint marks and minor doubled dies. These subtle details are invisible to the untrained eye, but scream money to advanced collectors. Speaking of errors, this is where the 1946 wheat penny becomes a treasure hunter's dream. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination errors, and die cracks all exist for this year, and some of these error coins are worth more than a brand new car. And yes, people have found them in old jars, rolls, and inherited collection. Sin of the most wanted errors is the 1946 doubled die obverse, where the date and lettering show doubling under magnification. This error is extremely rare and highly desirable, and when authenticated by professional grading services, it becomes a centerpiece coin worth serious money. An eighth hidden gem is the 1946 wheat penny struck on the wrong planchette. Coins accidentally struck on leftover steel planchettes or foreign blanks are among the rarest and most valuable mistakes in U.S. coin history, and a confirmed example would instantly become a 5-figure or even 6-figure coin. Condition is everything, and this is where people lose money without even knowing it. A circulated brown 1946 wheat penny might be worth a few cents, but a red uncirculated example graded Ms. 6-7 or higher, can sell for thousands, and auction records prove this, again and again. The difference between pocket change and a fortune can be as simple as not cleaning your coins. Cleaning destroys value instantly, and many rare wheat pennies have been ruined by well-meaning owners who did not know better. Untouched original surfaces are gold in the coin world. This is why experts always say, check your coins twice, especially wheat pennies, especially 1946, because so many people assume they are common and never look closely. Imagine opening an old box your grandfather left behind and seeing rows of brown pennies. Imagine one of them being a blazing red 1946 D with perfect details. That is not fantasy. That has happened, and it will happen. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. And the 1946 wheat penny delivers all three in a powerful way. And we are just getting started, because next we will break down exact values, mint by mint, condition by condition, real auction prices, and how to identify valuable 1946 wheat pennies step by step so you never miss one again.